Yeah, I mean, those guys look up to Cole, so at the end of the day, we miss him when he's not out there. He's kind of the leader of the group, so, when he's not out there, it's felt, both on the field and off the field. Those guys, they look to him, he gives them some confidence when you get out on the field and he's going to win his matchup, most of the time. So those things are, again, part of building confidence and building, the stamina to play in this league because it's different than anywhere else.
What you've seen from Trey Tucker so far this year, what's been a big contributor to his increase in production?
Yeah, I mean, I think Trey's a super hard worker. I think he's one of the hardest working guys on the team. He does everything you ask him. He's inquisitive. He wants to get better. So I think for him, it's about trying to get better every day and stacking days on top of each other and learning how to play with his speed. I think he's always been super fast, but his releases, have gotten better. He's been a lot more consistent with his hands. So that part of his game has gotten better too. So I think he's really worked hard at every facet and getting better. And he's been a great leader in the room too.
Speed seems to be like his greatest strength. What's the benefit of having someone with that kind of speed, where he's on a given basis that he's the fastest guy on the field?
Yeah, I mean, he stretches the field, so our biggest deal was being able to get him to be able to win at the line of scrimmage so he can be fast vertically as opposed to always just being fast running across the field, and having to scheme up ways to get him free releases. So he's worked really hard at that. When you have a guy that fast, he stresses the top of the defense and he makes it easier for guys underneath of him to be able to work. So there's so many values that he provides with that kind of speed.
Where have you seen Jack Bech improve the most over the first couple of weeks of the season, and where can he continue to get better to make more of an impact for the offense?
Yeah, I think he's improved in every facet. I think his route run's gotten better. I think he's playing with his strength a little bit more. He's understanding how to get open a little bit better in this league. I think at the end of the day, the ball goes where it goes. The biggest thing for him is just being consistent. He's not always consistent in what he's doing, and he's working hard at it. He realizes that. He takes great notes. He works really hard at his game. So I think those things will start to show fruition here soon.
You talked about how much of a leader Jacoby is for the wide receiver group. How do they adjust if Jacoby's not out there?
That's a great question. I think, at the end of the day, it's the next man up, and that's the way the league works. That's the way life works. So whoever's up, we got to make sure we maximize the opportunities that we get. Him being down would mean somebody else gets a chance. So we all got to be ready and take advantage of it when we get that opportunity.
How do you emphasize to those younger receivers that those opportunities may never come again? This is the NFL. You got to make the most of it.
We just talked about that today. Everybody knows what that NFL stands for, not for long. So you got to stack days on top of each other. There's never really a day off in the whole thing. It's like you need to make sure we're getting better because if you're not, somebody else is. And somebody's always looking to try to come take your spot. So those guys realize the importance of the work ethic that we're trying to build and the culture that we're trying to build. And they're trying to do everything that we ask them to do.
For those who may not be familiar with the bye week and how much gets accomplished in the bye week, how valuable can the bye week be for those receivers in Geno and really the offense as a whole?
Yeah, everybody. It's huge for everybody, coaches included. We need to make sure that we do all the little things to put them in a position to be successful. So that starts with the self-scout and figuring out, what we're doing well and what we're not doing so well, and how to do more of what we do well and less of what we don't. And it's the same for them. We watched tape today on, hey, this is how we get better third down wise. These are things we got to get better at. I think we were doing pretty well. We were in the upper third of the league. And then last week took a huge step back. So, it's all a process of figuring out how to correct those mistakes.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I appreciate you.
How do you feel about Dante Thornton Jr.'s progression and how he can develop as a deep threat in this league?
Yeah, I think, his overall strength we got to get better at. He's got to get stronger, and he knows that. I think the length of the season, because right now college is about wrapping up, and he's sitting back and got 10 more weeks to go. So, we got to get his strength up and his body the way it needs to be, and then have him understand how important it is to play fast all the time. It's not take some plays off in this league and then roll when you want to roll. Hey, every route I better be coming off the ball.
How do you think he's been handling that transition?
It's ups and downs. You know, it's inconsistent, and that's, you know, kind of part of being a rookie, but not an excuse. You know, and like I said, I love Dante's work ethic. I love how, you know, he wants to get better. I love how he's trying. You just need him to keep getting a little bit better every day, and he'll get where he needs to get, I think.